Discover how one little maid's incredible act of kindness changed her life forever, a heartwarming tale of friendship and resilience. Clara blinked against the midday sun, the heavy silence wrapping around her like a shroud, her sneakers scuffing the pavement as she trudged home. In her affluent suburban neighborhood, the glinting facades of the enormous houses felt like a curtain drawn around her, isolating her from the joy just beyond her reach. A daughter of a single mother working 2 jobs to make ends meet, she felt invisible, a ghost drifting through a world of wealth and privilege. Her summer days were spent helping her mom with the cleaning business, scrubbing the floors of homes that glittered with laughter, joy, and comforts that she could only dream of. But that day, as she walked past the sprawling lawns and designer cars, Clara noticed Mr. Thompson. The elderly war veteran struggled with an armful of grocery bags, his face a tapestry of exhaustion and pride. Clara's heart surged with an unexpected warmth. Although her own burdens felt unbearable, a flicker of kindness ignited within her. "Mr. Thompson," she called, rushing to help him. Together, they managed the weight of the bags, their camaraderie alleviating the heaviness of their shared secrets. As Clara began visiting him between her cleaning jobs, she learned of his triumphs and traumas, the battles he fought, both on the field and in the stillness of his home. Mr. Thompson's loneliness permeated the air, and Clara felt the fierce cruelty of isolation that often accompanied the elderly. Their friendship blossomed amidst laughter and stories, and for the first time, Clara felt needed. This sense of community inspired her to organize a neighborhood event to honor veterans, determined to shine a light on Mr. Thompson's story. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. However, her ambitious plan faced sneers from her schoolmates who thrived in their bubble of privilege. What does she know? They mocked, their laughter sharp like daggers, nudging her back into her corner of shame. Each cruel word cemented the harsh reality of social prejudice, making Clara's heart ache. Could her kindness really bridge the vast chasm of wealth and reputation? Determined, Clara threw herself into planning the event, pouring everything she had into every detail, believing with all her heart that Mr. Thompson and the other veterans deserved their moment. Just when things seemed to align, a violent storm swept through the town, threatening to wash away all her hard work, along with the fragile connection she was nurturing with her neighbors. But amongst the destruction, Clara discovered an unexpected wave of support. Neighbors rallied together, revealing a spirit of unity she had never witnessed before. They shared supplies, resources, and even hands willing to help. Just as Clara began to see glimmers of respect and recognition flicker into her community, disaster struck again. The storm left devastation in its wake, testing friendships, trust, and sacrifice. Amidst the wreckage, Clara felt the weight of her dreams crush her. She stood there, surrounded by friends and strangers, faced with a pivotal moment that could alter her life forever. Would her act of kindness ignite hope in a fractured society, or would it render her a reminder of the deep divides that still lingered? As the townsfolk gathered, Clara searched their faces for an answer. What would they choose? Clara stood among the remnants of what once was a vibrant neighborhood, her heart heavy as she watched her dreams fracture like the shattered glass strewn across the streets. People's expressions mirrored each other: confusion, anger, and a hint of fear. Clara felt an ache in her chest, the weight of her dreams sitting heavily as she waited for someone, anyone, to break the silence. Then, slowly, people began to speak. Sarah, a young mother who usually cruised through the neighborhood in her gleaming SUV, stepped forward, wiping a tear from her cheek. "We've got to help each other," she said, her voice trembling but resolute. "If we want to fix this, we can't let our differences keep us apart." Her words sparked murmurs in the crowd, powerful enough to unite them beneath the stormy skies. Clara's heart soared. There it was, the glimmer of hope she had been seeking. People started to gather fallen branches, and others brought tools from their garages, transforming the scene from despair to action. Mr. Thompson joined Sarah, rallying support with the strength of a battle-hardened soldier. "Each of us has a story," he announced, drawing in the crowd. "And together, we can create new ones." With renewed determination, Clara stepped up, feeling the energy of the crowd washing over her. "Let us not only rebuild our homes but our connections," she urged. "Let us hold the event, not just for the veterans, but for everyone here. We'll celebrate together, and we'll heal together." The crowd's response was electric. An overwhelming chorus of agreement surged through the air. As the sun began to set, casting golden rays over the scattered debris, Clara felt a fire ignite within her. The event would no longer be just about honoring the veterans, it would be a symbol of their newfound unity. It was a chance for healing, for them to stand side by side, battered yet unbroken. Over the next few weeks, the town transformed. Neighbors came together, sharing meals and help, while Clara organized workshops where people could express their thoughts and feelings. Old resentments began to fade, replaced by understanding and kindness. Clara found herself surrounded by friends, laughter ringing through the air again. She realized that she was no longer just a maid's daughter, she was a leader, someone whose heart could spark change. But as the date of the event approached, Clara noticed a new challenge looming. Tensions were beginning to arise, old rivalries bubbling back to the surface. Some of her schoolmates resurfaced, whispering doubts and ridicule about why celebrating their differences was necessary. "It won't work," they sneered, their words like a chilling wind against her newfound warmth. Clara felt the cracks forming beneath her feet. Would this once hopeful vision crumble under the weight of skepticism? She had to do something, say something that would remind everyone of the strength they had built together. Standing before a growing crowd at the town square one evening, Clara took a deep breath. How could she make them see? Would her words resonate deeply enough to drown out the murmur of doubt and fear? As she opened her mouth to speak, a nervous flutter danced in her stomach. This was at the moment she had been building towards. "If we want to rise, we must rise together," she shouted, meeting the gaze of each person in front of her. But was it enough? Would they believe in the power of unity? The tension thickened, and while some nodded, others remained stone-faced. Clara's heart raced. What would she do if they turned away? Before she could spiral into despair, a voice rang out from the back. "Together." It was Mr. Thompson, raising his frail arms. His frailty was juxtaposed against the strength of his conviction. His words hung in the air as the crowd turned toward him. Clara held her breath, wondering if this was the shift they needed. Would they embrace the powerful moment in front of them? Would they choose to believe in something bigger than themselves? The crowd began to ripple with energy, the tension easing away like mist before the sun. Clara glanced at Mr. Thompson, his hopeful expression igniting her courage. She realized she wasn't alone anymore. If they could find the strength to face their fears together, then so could she. Sarah stepped closer, her eyes gleaming with determination. "We have a choice," she called out. "We can either let our past divide us or choose to build something beautiful." The agreement in the crowd swelled, and Clara felt the vibrations of their connected hearts. "Unified, we can change the narrative," Clara added, her voice clearer, stronger. "We can turn this dark chapter into a story of resilience. We can be the change." Her words hung in the air, heavy with promise. The sun dipped lower behind the buildings, spilling colors across the horizon, mirroring the awakening hope within the crowd. Mr. Thompson raised his arms again, the gesture magnified like a beacon in the twilight. "Every one of you holds a piece of this community together. Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." His frail body quivered with passion as he looked around. "Stand with us, let us show them what we're capable of." The crowd erupted into applause, encouraging the hesitant souls to take a step forward. Clara felt her heart pounding, a combination of fear and exhilaration propelling her into the moment. This was what they needed, a reminder of their shared stories, the struggles they all faced, and the dreams they still dared to chase. Over the next few days, the air changed. The community buzzed with plans for the event. Families worked side by side, moving debris, painting fences, and setting up tables. Laughter rang out, linking individuals once held apart by misunderstanding. Clara organized an avenue for everyone's stories to flow, an open mic where people could share their experiences and memories. Old wounds became opportunities for healing. But shadows loomed over that shared light. Clara still saw the skeptics lingering at the edges, whispering to one another, their faces twisted in doubt. "This will fall apart," they muttered. "They'll never change." Those voices crept under Clara's skin, creating a stir of anxiety. Were they right? As the event approached, Clara was determined to invite even those resistant to the idea. "This is for everyone," she announced in another gathering. "Let us create a space where we can confront our fears and misunderstandings. Only together can we rewrite the narrative, even for those who doubt." Murmurs of disagreement emerged, but she held her ground. The festival dawned bright and early, a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. Musicians strummed guitars, children laughed, and the aroma of comfort food wafted through the air. Clara stood in the middle of the square, her heart racing. She felt exhilarated but nervous too. Could this turn into the healing moment they had all envisioned? Audiences began to gather, filling the space in vibrant hues of hope. Clara took a deep breath, looking into the sea of faces that had once seemed so divided. Right then, everything hung in balance. She could feel the weight of their expectations pressing down. It was time. "If we truly want to rise together," Clara said, stepping forward to the mic as the crowd rustled with anticipation. "We must confront the darkness to break it open and shed light on our truths, even if they bring discomfort." The uproar of cheers erupted around her, but Clara spotted familiar faces in the crowd. Faces that were unmoved, still harboring deep skepticism. Would her message touch them? Would they believe in the power of coming together, despite their differences? With her heart racing, she was ready to speak from the heart, revealing her story as it flowed through her veins. But then, she caught Mr. Thompson's eyes, filled with conviction, and realized she needed to address the doubts head-on, hoping they would listen. Meanwhile, someone slipped through the crowd, making their way toward the stage. Would it spell trouble, or could it bring unexpected revelations? Clara's breath caught in her throat as the figure stepped into the light. A girl, no older than 10, with deep brown eyes and a mop of unruly curls stood at the forefront. She wore a faded light blue dress that looked well-loved but worn thin. The crowd's attention shifted, curiosity igniting as she approached the stage, her tiny hands shaking slightly. "Excuse me," the girl spoke, her voice wavering but clear. "My name is Mia. I wanted to share something." Clara felt a warmth blooming inside her as the crowd quieted to a hush, eager to hear. It was a moment of possibility, one that could reshape their gathering. "Last month, my dad lost his job," Mia continued, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "We didn't have enough to eat. I was scared. I saw my mom crying a lot." The audience collectively held its breath, resonating with her story. Clara's heart ached for the young girl, feeling the sharp pang of a childhood burdened by grown-up worries. "But then, people from this community helped us. They brought us food and blankets. They made my mom smile again," Mia said, a flicker of hope lighting her face. "They didn't know us, but they were kind. That made me want to do something too." Clara watched as Mia took a deep breath, gathering her courage. "I started making sandwiches. I know that sounds small, but I want to give them to people who need them just like you all helped my family." Murmurs of approval rippled through the audience. "You're not just a little girl," Sarah's voice rang out, filled with awe. "You're a hero." Mia beamed at the compliment, but Clara could see the weight she carried. It reminded her of her own journey. She needed to build on this. Mia, Clara said, stepping off the stage, your kindness is incredible. But you don't have to do it alone. We can all help each other. The crowd erupted into spontaneous applause, their spirits lifting with the energy of Mia's story. Clara felt reality shifting, walls crumbling as her own misgivings began to dissipate in the light of unity. Let us all join Mia, Clara called out. Can we commit to doing one small act of kindness? Each of us has the power to change a life. The crowd roared with agreement, and for the first time Clara sensed real community, a place where everyone had a role to play. But then, through the newfound joy, Clara noticed the skeptics still present, still uncertain. She felt a tightness in her chest. Their different opinions held weight, and she knew they wouldn't abandon their doubts easily. Maybe we're just dreaming, one man shouted from the back, his voice tinged with bitterness. Empty words won't change anything. Clara took a deep breath, struggling to quell her fear. Was this moment too fragile to withstand skepticism? A knot developed in her stomach, torn between optimism and doubt. Mia's act is a small beginning, but it's a beginning nonetheless. Clara's voice resonated determinedly. Let us all dream together. We can show him that change is not only possible but contagious. The crowd stirred, voices rising with excitement, but Clara's gaze remained locked with the man's, hoping to reach his heart. As the festival unfolded all around them, joy intermingled with uncertainty. Would everyone embrace the unity they had aimed for? Or were these roots of doubt too deep to uproot? A distant rumble echoed in the sky, as dark clouds began to gather overhead. Clara felt a shiver run through the crowd. She looked up. Was it just weather, or an omen of storms yet to come? The answer loomed like the clouds above them. Only time would tell. The dark clouds swirled above, casting a shadow over the joyful scene. Clara felt a tightening grip of anxiety on her chest. The crowd's energy shifted, and she could sense the tension rising like the storm clouds. Discussions about their commitment to kindness began to quiet down, each person glancing uneasily toward the sky. Do we have to worry about the rain? Mia asked, her innocent voice cutting through the anxious murmurs. Clara looked down at the girl, her bright eyes still glimmering with hope despite the growing storm. No, Mia, Clara assured her, forcing a smile. We won't let a little rain stop us. We have something special happening here. She turned back to the crowd, lifting her arms as if her enthusiasm could shield them from the gathering storm. Remember, we all came here to connect, to uplift one another. Just then, a heavy drop of rain splattered against the ground, and the audience gasped collectively. A quick glance told Clara that the families with children were already starting to scatter, clutching hands and hurrying toward the park's entrance. The atmosphere shifted from excitement to confusion in moments. Mia, we can't let them leave like this. Clara said, wanting to create a sense of urgency, a rallying point. She could see the flicker of dread in Mia's eyes, and it fueled Clara's determination. Can you come back up here with me? We need to show them why we're here. Mia hesitated for a moment but nodded, her small hand reaching for Clara's. With renewed spirit, they climbed back onto the stage together. Everyone! Clara called out, raising her voice above the wind that was beginning to roar. We can't let this storm extinguish our light. We are the change we want to see, and that doesn't fade with a little rain. A few heads turned back, curiosity confirmed by their interest in the two figures on stage. Mia has a message for all of us. Clara prompted, gesturing for the girl to take center stage once more. Mia evoked a soft gasp from the crowd as she leaned into the microphone. It's okay if it rains. Together, we can do something amazing. She paused, her small frame pulsating with conviction. I want to collect as many sandwiches as we can and give them to families in need. If everyone here helps even a little bit, we can make a big difference. The people began to murmur again, slowly transforming uncertainty into a flicker of hope. Clara felt the atmosphere shift, the tension lightening as rain began to come down in earnest. "Let us get to work," Clara declared, her own excitement growing. "If you have food to donate, bring it. We'll set up a station right here. And Mia and I will make sure it gets to those who need it most." She saw enthusiasm blossoming in the faces that had shifted from skepticism to solidarity. People began moving, rushing back to their cars or homes, thinking of something they could bring back. Yet, amidst the excitement, Clara's gaze still drifted to the man who had voiced his doubts. He stood at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed, still skeptical. She wanted him to believe. Together we can show him, Clara thought, a wave of determination washing over her. As she watched people begin to gather, eager to help, the clouds roared deeply and the sky darkened further. Clara couldn't ignore the foreshadowing ominous energy around them. What if this act of kindness didn't go as they planned? The wind howled, throwing leaves into the air like scattered whispers of fate. Will this act unite us or divide us even more? Clara felt the weight of the storm growing, intertwining with a storm brewing in her heart. She turned back to Mia, who was already strategizing with a group of supporters, her innocent spirit lighting up the impending darkness. "Promise me, Mia," Clara whispered, watching the girl radiate hope. "Whatever weather we face, we'll keep pushing forward, you and I. We can't give up now." Mia nodded earnestly, determination sparkling in her eyes. As Clara felt the first drops of rain turn into a heavy downpour, she knew their little act of kindness would either unite them or test them. Beyond measure. The storm was brewing, but so was something else. What would happen when the rain turned into a storm? Would they find their strength to weather it together? The rain began to pour in sheets, each drop heavy with uncertainty. Clara could feel the cool water soaking through her clothes, but it felt insignificant compared to the warmth in her heart. She stood firm, willing to be the anchor for everyone around her. The park's vibrant colors faded under the relentless storm, the laughter of children drowned by the sound of thunder. Clara turned back to the crowd, her voice steady and loud against the whipping wind. "Let us not forget why we're here. We have families that need us, and they depend on us, even more so now." In that moment, Clara saw faces illuminated by resolve as folks rushed back, determination replacing the doubt that had shrouded them just moments before. Mia's small frame stood beside her, a beacon of light even as the downpour intensified. "I've got my mom's special sandwich recipe," Mia exclaimed with pure delight. "And I think she has extra stuff we can use. Who's with me?" The excitement in her voice sparked an infectious energy in the crowd, emboldening people to step forward. "Count me in," shouted a voice from the crowd. Clara turned to see the man who had skeptically stood at the edge moments ago. He was moving, his arms now uncrossed, a look of quiet determination spreading across his face. He was not alone, more voices joined, a chorus of agreement rising above the rain. "Let us go. I'll be right back," another woman shouted, her children darting beside her like little raindrops unleashed. Clara felt a rush of hope swell within her. This was the moment she had envisioned. With renewed energy, Clara grabbed Mia's hand. Together, they dashed to the makeshift food station they had quickly created under an awning. They flung open the garden shed doors, pulling out boxes that were meant for donation, now repurposed for gathering food. The first families returned, arms laden with groceries and homemade sandwiches wrapped in wax paper. Clara couldn't help but smile as they unloaded their offerings, moisture glistening on their hair and clothes like jewels. Each person was beaming, brave enough to step into the storm not just for themselves, but for others. "Look at this!" Mia exclaimed, her laughter ringing out clearly. They had collected enough sandwiches to overflow the station. It was a sight that overwhelmed Clara's heart. But just then, a streak of lightning illuminated the sky, followed closely by booming thunder. The crowd flinched, but rather than scattering, they clumped together beneath the awning, looking at each other with a shared resolve. Clara realized in that electric moment, standing amidst the shared warmth of body and spirit, that fear had transformed into solidarity. "Keep bringing in the sandwiches," she called out, her voice rising over the crashing storm. "We're making an impact. Let us show our community what we can do together." A ripple of cheers followed, drowning out the storm's threat. The man who had doubted earlier stood at the front now, handing out sandwiches with a wide grin. Clara never imagined how quickly things had turned for him. Perhaps he had come to believe in the light they were creating. As they worked, the rain fell heavier, turning the ground into puddles filled with glittering reflections. Clara's heart raced with joy even as her clothes soaked through. This was it. This was what community felt like, melding kindness, courage, and connection against all odds. Yet, a whisper of unease still nudged at the back of her mind. Would they have enough sandwiches? Clara looked back as a large group of children gathered, some quietly watching the adults while others danced in the rain. Each smile filled her with warmth, but a question lingered: what if their efforts were not enough to meet the growing needs? The storm raged on, not just from above but also in Clara's heart, as she prepared for what lay ahead. Would they rise up through this challenge, or would the storm wash away their hard-won belief? The wind howled like a restless spirit, lifting Clara's spirits even higher. They were making a difference, one sandwich at a time. Yet there was an edge to her excitement. The storm showed no sign of easing. She watched as families continued to arrive, bringing in more supplies, and the array of colors against the dull gray sky made her heart swell. "Look!" shouted Mia, eyes sparkling, pointing toward the edge of the park where a group of older boys was coming forward, bravely trudging through the deluge with several bags in hand. Clara felt an electric thrill run through her. Maybe this storm was galvanizing everyone into action, pulling them away from their worries, and bringing them right here, to this moment. "Mia!" Clara called, her excitement bubbling over like a pot on the stove. "Go see what they've got. Every little bit can help." Mia dashed off, splashing through pools of water, her laughter rising above the thunder. Clara turned to the motions of the crowd, the energy palpable. People were still rushing in, arms overflowing with food and smiles that glimmered in the rain. However, another glance toward the sky revealed more ominous clouds rolling in. Clara's smile flickered for just a second. She knew the sheer size of their goal. This was about more than sandwiches. This was about giving hope to families whose faces were lined with worry and fear. A woman approached, a toddler on her hip, clutching a wet bag of bread. "I heard about what you all are doing," she said, voice resolute despite the rain. "I couldn't just sit at home." Clara felt tears prick at her eyes. "Every little act of kindness matters," she replied, meaning it more than ever. "Thank you for being here." As the woman nodded, Clara glanced at the hastily assembled group, now counterbalancing the storm's chaos with laughter and camaraderie. Yet, a shadow passed over her heart as she spotted the children. They were starting to shiver and grow restless, the rain becoming a consistent downpour. Did Mia have enough blankets to keep them warm? Would there be enough sandwiches for everyone who needed one? A crack of thunder snapped Clara back into focus. "We need to set up a dry area, an actual shelter." Her mind raced. "If families are going to keep coming, we have to protect them." "Mia!" she shouted, trying to make her way through the crowd. But the rain was relentless, and the winds came up, threatening to rip the awning away from its feeble posts. Panic began to creep in, as Clara rushed to grab hold of it. The man who had once doubted stepped forward, helping her hold it steady. "We can't let it fall," he said firmly, meeting Clara's eyes. "Together, right?" she replied, her heart pounding fiercely. Then Clara turned, calling out to the crowd with every ounce of strength she possessed. "Everyone! We need to form a line. Let us make a safer space. Help me hold this." Calls of agreement rippled through the crowd. The mantra of togetherness spread. In that moment, Clara realized that hope dropped like rain. It may waver, but it never truly disappeared. But just when things started to settle, a distant scream pierced through the storm's rhythm. Clara's stomach churned as she turned toward the sound, eyes wide with dread. What was that? She whispered, fear creeping into her voice. The moment of truth was hovering dangerously close. Would Clara discover a new threat amid their mission of kindness, or would it unravel everything they had fought for? Clara's heart raced as the scream echoed through the storm. It cut through the laughter and chatter, grounding her in a reality far removed from their hopeful mission. She peered into the swirling darkness, searching for the source of the sound, her mind flashing to the children, the families, to Mia, who was still darting around, oblivious to the alarm. "Stay together!" she shouted, panic bubbling inside. She fought the urge to run toward the noise. Instead, she gathered herself, focusing on the crowd around her. "Let us get everyone under the awning," she urged, her voice ringing with determination. The man beside her nodded, stepping in closer. "We need to make sure everyone is safe. I'll help with the shelter." Clara felt a sense of gratitude for him, a stranger united in purpose. They stabilized the flapping fabric overhead, forming a makeshift fortress against the elements. It wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. She looked around. There were frantic faces, some aligned with uncertainty, but others spoke of resilience and strength. "Mia!" she called out again, her voice growing hoarse, searching for her daughter. "We need to regroup." But just then, a young girl stumbled into view, fear etched across her face. Drenched and shivering, she was clutching a small bundle of rags to her chest. Clara rushed over, kneeling down to meet her eye level, her motherly instincts kicking in. "Sweetheart, are you okay? I lost my brother," the girl cried, her small voice nearly drowned out by the rain. "He was right here." Clara's heart sank, a weight settling into her chest. "What's his name? Where did you last see him?" "James. He was playing by the trees. I can't find him." Every instinct told her to comfort the girl, yet urgency gnawed at her. "Stay with me," she said gently, taking the girl's hand. "We're going to find him." "Mia." Mia finally emerged from the crowd, her cheeks bright with the cold and excitement. "Mom. I found some blankets." She was about to say more, but Clara cut her off, pointing to the girl. "We need to search for James. Can you help?" Mia's eyes widened initially, but they quickly filled with determination. "Of course. Let us go." Clara watched as they sprinted toward the trees, her heart racing. She could hardly bear the thought of losing a child, not when so many had come together to help. The storm seemed to roar louder, drowning out her racing thoughts as she gripped the girl's small hand tightly. "You're not alone, we're going to find him," she reassured. As they reached the edge of the park, the trees loomed ominously. Rain streamed down, creating puddles that mirrored the urgency in Clara's heart. "James!" she called, her voice nearly swallowed by the storm. "Can you hear me?" Silence settled, immediate and chilling. The girl squeezed Clara's hand tighter. The world around them grew dark, but Clara fought against the notion of despair. "Hold on. Keep calling," she urged, forcing herself to stay calm. "James. We're looking for you." Then, as if the winds themselves were about to grant her a miracle, a familiar voice echoed back. "Help. I'm over here." Relief washed over Clara. The three of them dashed toward the sound, urgency reviving their spirits even amid the downpour. But just as they approached the thicket, another terrifying scream ripped through the air, one that felt personal, wrenching. It wasn't lost on Clara that the storm might not be the only threat they faced. "Stay close," she barked, adrenaline surging through her veins. What lay ahead in the heart of the storm? Rain pounded down, a relentless drummer smashing against the earth. Clara's legs felt like lead as she pushed forward, the scream still lingering in her ears, mingling with the chaos around her. All her instincts screamed for her to turn back, but the thought of James alone and scared kept her moving. "Mia! Keep your eyes peeled!" she shouted, her voice barely cutting through the cacophony. Each step seemed to echo in the darkness, a reminder of the urgency that clenched at her heart. The young girl, still gripping Clara's hand like a lifeline, looked up with wide, terror-filled eyes. "What if we can't find him?" she whispered. Clara knelt down, forcing a reassuring smile despite her own fear. "We will find him. We have to believe that, okay? Just keep calling." They pushed deeper into the tree line, branches whipping at their faces, each rustle making her jump. Shadows danced between the trunks, and every sound became amplified: the drumming of the rain, the creaking of wood, the patter of fallen leaves. Clara's heart raced, not only at the rush of adrenaline but also at the haunting thought of what might be lurking in the shadows. "James!" Mia's voice rang out, sharp and desperate. "James, can you hear us?" Clara joined in, her voice rising over the storm. "We're almost there. Just keep talking, sweetie." Just then, another scream echoed, sharper this time. Clara's stomach dropped, as panic ignited a fire in her blood. It was coming from deeper within the woods. "Did you hear that?" Clara asked, her heart pounding in rhythm with the rain. The girl nodded, terror flooding her expression. "We can't leave James," Mia replied, swallowing hard. "Okay, let us go." Clara's voice was steady, but fear clawed at her insides. Together, they moved closer toward the source of the sound, where the trees parted just enough for Clara to see a flicker of light ahead. As they approached, the breathtaking sight began to materialize: a small clearing illuminated by a fallen lantern, its glass shattered but still glowing faintly among the dark puddles. Clara's breath caught. "James!" she called out, desperation threading through her tone as she stepped closer. "Are you there?" She almost missed it at first. A movement to the left, a small figure hunched over, shivering in the mud. A boy, no older than 7, with wild hair sticking to his forehead and tears streaking down his dirt-stained cheeks. "James!" He looked up, eyes wide with panic. "I'm here. I'm so scared." Relief flooded Clara's chest, and she quickly reached for him. "It's okay, buddy. We're here." But as she bent down to scoop him into her arms, the darkness around them shifted again. The scream echoed for a third time, closer and sharper than before. They froze, Clara's heart slamming against her ribs. The hair on the back of her neck stood up. "Mia, hold on to James," she instructed, pulling them both close. "We need to get out of here, now." The shadows seemed to thicken, the thunder rolling above them matching the deepening sense of dread. Something was off, something more than just the storm. As they stepped back toward safety, a figure emerged from the darkness, cloaked in rain and shadows, eyes glinting in the lantern light. Clara's breath hitched. Who are you?" she demanded, shielding James and the girl behind her. The figure stepped forward, revealing a face etched with determination yet shadowed by worry. "I'm here to help, but you must trust me." Clara's heart raced, uncertainty flooding her. Could she trust this stranger? What lay ahead in the storm that seemed far more dangerous than the elements? The rain poured relentlessly, a wall of water that cloaked everything in uncertainty. Clara's heart pounded as she tried to assess the figure emerging from the shadows. The man appeared genuine, but in a storm like this, could anyone be trusted? "Please," he said, desperation lacing his voice. "I saw James from a distance. I've been looking for you." With every instinct urging caution, Clara noticed the sincerity in his eyes. The pounding storm faded into the background. She had a choice to make. Trust this stranger or continue navigating uncharted waters alone? "Stay close," she said, taking a deep breath and clasping James and the girl tighter. "If you know the way out, we'll follow you." The man nodded, his wet hair clinging to his forehead like the gauze of a wounded soldier. "We need to move before the river rises. Follow me." With her heart racing, she led the kids behind the mysterious stranger, hoisting James up onto her hip as they plunged deeper into the woods. The wind howled, branches whipped around, and Clara found herself praying that the storm would clear as they forged ahead. They moved quickly, the man navigating the near-invisible path through the trees. As they walked, he glanced back over his shoulder. "I lost someone in this very storm once," he admitted. "I know how terrifying it can be. But you all have to believe we can find safety together." Clara's breath hitched. His pain echoed the struggles she had faced: tragedy, loss, isolation. But she couldn't let fear hold her back, she needed to believe. Glancing down at the shivering children, she squeezed James a little tighter. "We can do this," she encouraged softly, though uncertainty gnawed at her heart. Finally, they emerged at the tree line, the distant lights of the park flickering like promises of safety. Clara felt the weight lift just a little, but another scream echoed through the mist, this time sounding familiar. "Mom!" It was Mia's small voice, frantically calling out. "Mia!" Clara shouted, stepping away from the stranger instinctively. Ignoring the rain, she dashed toward the sound, urgency propelling her forward. Then she saw her, standing in the middle of a small gathering of townspeople, fellow neighbors, faces once marked by skepticism, now filled with worry and spark. "Mia!" Clara cried, rushing to her side, the muddy grass squelching beneath her feet. "I'm so glad you're okay." She pulled her daughter into a tight embrace, feeling the cold seep into her skin. "Mama, I was so scared." Mia sobbed, clutching Clara tightly. "Me too," Clara whispered, lifting her chin. "But look! Everyone's here." The crowd had formed a semicircle, each person standing shoulder to shoulder. Clara's heart swelled as she recognized familiar faces: Sarah, the skeptical man, even Mr. Thompson, all cinched together like puzzle pieces that finally fit. As the rain began to relent, confusion gave way to a shared understanding that had blossomed amidst the chaos. "Clara!" Sarah stepped forward, shaking off droplets like a bird whose wings had just touched the ground. "I'm so glad you're all right. We were worried." "I couldn't just stand back," Clara replied, her voice choked with emotion. "We had to find James." "We all had to find each other," Mia said, her small voice resonating with unexpected authority. "That's what really matters." In that moment, Clara felt a transformation take place. She wasn't just a Maid's daughter, she was a daughter of this community, someone who could ignite courage in even the most fractured hearts. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his voice steady despite the downpour. "You all showed resilience today. In this storm, we didn't just gather supplies, we gathered strength. We will thrive, just like we did back there." He pointed behind him at the path they had forged together. The sounds of agreement spread through the crowd, the air thickening with camaraderie. They began to turn toward one another, sharing stories, laughter, and hope beneath a sky that was beginning to clear. Clara felt a rush of gratitude that had been born from the storm itself. "Let us make this moment matter," she urged, her voice rising above the dissipating rain. Redemption flooded through her as she watched the villagers lift their voices in support, their spirits reborn like spring flowers breaking through winter's frost. "We can put together another feast. Everyone can bring something," Clara declared, excitement radiating through her. "A celebration of the community we built amidst chaos. Can we do that?" The answer roared back, a cacophony of cheers and laughter that rang louder than the storm ever had. "Yes." It surged like a tidal wave. As the clouds began to roll away, Clara felt the warmth of the sun breaking through. She lifted her chin toward the horizon, a bright gold glimmering in the aftermath of gray. With Mia at her side and the townspeople revived by hope, Clara realized they had created something far more profound. In this moment, they were not just neighbors, they were a family, resilient and wrapped in kindness. They had cultivated a connection that even the heaviest of storms couldn't wash away, and for the first time, Clara understood the true power of togetherness. Now, her heart overflowed with gratitude and strength, knowing this was just the beginning. As the sun peeked through the clouds, Clara couldn't help but smile. They would heal and celebrate, not just for the sake of survival, but because they believed in one another. Their stories intertwined like roots of a great tree, dynamic, strong, and unbreakable. And with that, an unwavering call to action rang through her heart. It was time to shine their light, to share their newfound bond with the world. Clara looked around, ready to rally her friends once more. Let us do it, everyone. Let us start our new story together and show everyone what it means to rise as one. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices weaving into an anthem of hope. And Clara knew that this was the moment that would echo in the hearts of generations to come. Now you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment with your thoughts and feelings about this emotional ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support, so don't wait not even one more second to share.